This is Cadillac Unscripted on 107.9 CDY. It's sponsored every week at this time by Independent Bank. My co-host is Katie Huckle. And Katie, we're talking Rotary today, and we might slide in a little reference to the Cadillac Salvation Army too, because we have a special guest.
We do. Greg Bock is someone we love to talk to because of his energy, but also because of what he's doing in our community. So welcome, Greg.
Thank you. It's always good to be here. I love walking in because I can feel your energy too. So you guys do great things as well.
Thank you.
So you are the new president. How new as the president of the Rotary Club of Cadillac?
July.
Okay,
Oh,
so
that's
you only
new.
have a few months in.
Yeah, a few months in, and we're going at it strong. You know, it's a historic club. It's a strong club. It's a thriving club.
It is.
So I told them going in, I said, I don't want, when people look at the Cadillac Rotary history book, I don't want it to go, all these great run-of presidents, and then me and the word train wreck next to it. That's not what I want. So we're hitting it hard and doing things, you know, being more active, being more involved, being more engaged and visible, and trying to really bring the mission of Rotary, you know, to life here in Cadillac.
It's hard to imagine a group that isn't more involved and more engaged than the Rotary to begin with. So it seems to me like the bar was already pretty high for you.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You know, when I first got to Cadillac and I'm driving around town and not knowing what I'm doing, where I'm going in town, one thing I saw a lot of different places was the Rotary wheel. And I was a Rotarian. I joined Rotary Club up in Sheboygan when I was the business manager of Salvation Army up there. And so I knew what Rotary did. I knew what they were about. And it's a good organization. It's a good group of people that are passionate to make lives better, you know, in the areas in which they live. So when I kept seeing the Rotary emblem everywhere in the wheel, I know that Rotary connects the world. Rotary makes things happen. And I saw it so many times in Cadillac. I knew that if there was a service club I wanted to join, it needed to be the Rotary Club.
Okay.
And
what
so,
a great fit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I've loved it ever since I've joined. And here I am. I happen to have the privilege to be the president. So here I am.
Congratulations. I can tell you, I was a longtime Rotary member. We had leadership from Salvation Army as members of the club, but I don't think there's ever been a president from Salvation Army. I think
Really?
I think you might be, what would you call it? A trendsetter, a trailblazer.
Yeah,
but we knew that about him. We already knew that.
I hope so. Like I said, I want to make sure that I do both, you know, nonprofits well. I want to do Rotary well. I want to do Salvation Army well. And if I can have the two, you know, meet together, if I can bring the passions of both clubs together and really make a difference in our speck of the world known as Cadillac, and let people know that they are loved and cared about both on the Salvation Army side and the Rotary side, then, you know, what else could be better than that? Is making those two worlds collide, and also bring in, you know, the Kiwanis Club and the Lions Club and the JCs and all the other nonprofits and service clubs in the community, joined together with nonprofits like Salvation Army, Love Inc., Goodwill, you know, the places in town that really care about people. If we can up the visibility, up the engagement, and up just the involvement in this community by just kind of having the lives cross paths, can you imagine how much better this community would be here and now, and then for the future generations to come?
It's powerful because Rotary historically has been mostly business people. The nonprofit sector, and especially leadership within the nonprofit sector, has always been, you know, part of the club, you know, to my knowledge. But there's a lot of business people in there. So when you bring somebody, you know, from the nonprofit world, that is your career, I can't wait to see what's going to happen, you know, because you've got a lot of doers in the club.
We do. We do. We have, I just look at the current club members, and there's about 48 of us right now on the membership list.
Okay.
We're always looking to grow that. So if someone's listening and they're looking for a service club to join, that's not just going to be a regular, I'm going to have to go to this meeting once a week and have lunch and listen to a speaker. No. We meet, and the more people that can meet together, the funner it is.
Right.
But you also get to share your passion, and it can be contagious. And when you infect somebody else with your passion, your dedication to community and to making lives better in that community, great things happen. And look at the history of Rotary. I mean, all the things that Rotary has done for Cadillac, great things have happened, and even greater things are in store.
Oh, my.
That's a tease.
Absolutely. It's like tall order is what it is. I will also say that the Rotary Foundation has a chunk of money.
Yes.
And I can't wait to see what you guys are going to do with that, too.
Yes.
Not to be a spoiler alert, but is there anything that we can know about in terms of pending projects and commitments?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there's one that's already out there. You know, it's the Diggins Hill Revitalization Project. I asked, Carla Filkins and Mike Filkins, who are just I have to say, take a moment to say that we have such great ambassadors for the community in Carla and Mike Filkins, and everything that Carla's done, and Mike with his music and educational, career and what he's involved with now. But they took me up to Diggins Hill one day in the spring, and I looked around and I said, "This is what we're going to revitalize." And he said, "Yeah, look around." He said, "You can see the entire city from this hill." He said, "Did you know back in the day, Diggins Hill was the meeting place in Cadillac? This was where people met to have meetings, to have concerts, to have festivals." And he said, "Can you imagine this once again being that place?" So as we walked around, we talked about where the pavilion would go, where the playground would go, where the sledding hill is, and just things we wanted to envision and see happen. I started to feel their passion for it. And to talk to the members of Cadillac, the community members that have been here for a long time, they can tell you about the 40s and the 30s, growing up in Cadillac and going to Diggins Hill and seeing, remembering just how important it was to them, their memories made there. And shout out to Halloween House that does a fantastic, phenomenal job of doing activities now at Diggins Hill. And I think partnerships like that will just make the revitalization of Diggins Hill it'll be a stop on somebody's northern Michigan trip. We have to go to Cadillac because we have to see the lakes. We have to see
the Kiss Monument.
Right? And we have to see Diggins Hill. We have to experience it. And I think that those Pure Michigan campaigns, I can just see it now. Can you hear Tim Allen's voice talking about Pure Michigan and talking about Diggins Hill and Cadillac and how you have to go and see it? So that's one thing that's we'll have the groundbreaking this winter for the playground equipment, and I think that the projection to have it installed is hopefully by the beginning of the next school year.
Incredible. So let's say, 4 years from now, and you're just describing Diggins Hill to someone who's never even heard of it before, what would you say it's going to look like?
Oh, man. If you would Google an image or ask AI to create an image of a gathering place that has something for everyone.
Oh, wow.
And not just a gathering place, but like a populated gathering place where people want to go. We're talking playgrounds that have equipment for those with special needs and for those, that just want to go enjoy a playground. We're talking a picnic area. We're talking flower beds. We're talking state-of-the-art restrooms. We're talking the pavilion, music venues. We're talking the sledding hill. People talk about how that sledding hill when they were little, the ice rink that used to be there. And so we want to kind of mix the history of Diggins Hill, what used to be, with what can be, and kind of create something new that will kind of tickle the fancy of all those who remember what it was. Kind of look at it now and go, well, okay, there's like a baseball diamond there and some trees and the great community events that Halloween House puts on. And then when they see it go, just, wow, who would have thought? And it's made possible because of the Rotarians, the Rotary clubs, the organizations that sponsor their members, their employees to be in Rotary Club, and all those people that came out to the Rotary auction, that donated, that bought silent auction, items, that sponsorships that were given. It's all in part because of their generosity and their thought of what could be, what's possible. And the theme of Rotary this year, which is really cool, is the magic of Rotary.
Oh, wow.
And when you combine all that passion and commitment and resources, financial resources, and just time and effort and energy, and you use a magic wand and you tap that, magical things can happen that'll just leave this community in awe of what's to come.
Captain Greg Bock is our guest. He's in charge of the Salvation Army in and around Cadillac, but also is the Rotary president. We're concentrating a little bit on Rotary this time. We'll give you a chance to talk about Salvation Army in a bit, but how was Diggins Hill arrived at to be the beneficiary of 2 years worth of fundraising, right? From Rotary.
I think it was a combination of just looking at the past Rotary auctions, the Up North Arts, the sign we were able to give to them, at the last Rotary auction, the proceeds from that went to the beautiful display out there. And there's a list. If you go to City Hall and other places around town at Primo's, you can see a list of the last few years, what the auctions have funded and just all the money that went in. And I think that this was a combination of people that looked at what we've done and what Cadillac currently has to offer. And when you think of a community, where you think of where you want to visit, you think of nice parks. You think of where can I take my family to enjoy an afternoon, And Cadillac has good parks. We have the Sound Garden, we have downtown, we have parks that people can go and enjoy. But to take something that is already there, that might have, just the collection of time covering the beauty of it, if we can take that and clean it up and revitalize it, I think that that's kind of how it came to be. Was we looked at that and said, here we have a gym that just has, just the wear of time and the wear of, just maybe lack of interest over a certain amount of time. And if we can pinpoint that and focus on that and kind of clean it up, spruce it up, revitalize it a little bit, I think that they thought, and it will become, once again, the premier gathering meeting place for festivals, for what have you, in Cadillac. So I think that's kind of how they came to that decision. Was, here we have this gym and it needs some attention. Let's partner with the city. Let's partner with Kiwanis. Let's partner with other organizations and nonprofits, and let's make something happen. So it's not just hey, look at Rotary. It's look at what can happen when community nonprofits and service clubs and organizations come together and want to do something that'll leave this community just in awe. And I think this is going to be it.
You're a relatively new Cadillacan, so
Cadillacan, that's a good word.
Someone must have told you about the backstory of
No.
Okay. Of Diggins Hill?
No. I don't think so.
And you found out from your fellow Rotarians, about the specialness of this place.
Yeah. Now I know. So there's a book that Judge Elmore wrote that talks about Mr. Diggins, and it's the train, and it's the haunt. It just weaves through kind of history of Cadillac and talks about Diggins Hill a little bit. But I know that it was donated by the Diggins family. But more than that, I just know what used to take place there. I don't really know quite just how special it is to some people. And hopefully what we do now, generations from now, people can say, in 2024, 2025, this great revitalization took place, and I have such great memories there now. When they're 80 years old, they can say, I'm going to give to this nonprofit, to this service club, because they're going to do even greater things there. So I'd be interested to hear what the specialness in your eyes, both of you are like looking at me with some pretty interesting eyes here. So
well, I will tell you, as far as Cadillac goes, I'm a newbie compared to Katie. So it's a magical place. That and you mentioned the Halloween house. The folks who live right across the road from there have done a lot of fundraisers for that. And it's just, I'm really looking forward to seeing, because the imprint, the handprints of the Rotary Club are all over Cadillac. Right?
Yes,
I mean,
that
you
is
can
true.
see them everywhere.
You can.
Yeah. So I just can't wait.
So you're talking about, Kiwanis and JCs and partnerships, and it just brings me back to, Cadillac collaborates.
Yeah.
It's not just all about, one organization. It's about this partnership. And we see that with education and business. We see that with education and industry. And I've lived in several communities here the longest, but I've never seen such collaboration. The expectation is, if you've got a good idea and you need help, and Pat Goggins smiling down at us right now because he and Doreen at the foundation, those two were a powerhouse.
Yes.
You've got an idea and you need help, and you pick up the phone. The expectation is the person on the other end is going to set aside their personal agenda to help you.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
I agree.
Okay.
You know how many times I've walked into the community foundation and I just spur of the moment, Doreen, I have an idea. And she stops what she's doing and she says, okay, have a seat, let's chat. And she'll spend a few minutes talking me through it, or giving me ideas, or helping me kind of, frame the thought, line of thinking about things I have ideas for Rotary or Salvation Army or things I think, we could do better in town or what have you. And you're right. This community is full of people who have an interest in Cadillac. And it's not just an interest, a personal interest, but it's like a generational historic interest that they want to see this community be the absolute best it could be because they know what it was for them when they were kids, what it was for their parents, their grandparents. And here they are in business, successful, and they want to see that same thing happen for their kids, their grandkids, and future generations. Right. And so they're going to take the time to really sit down and listen and really think and be just really intentional about how they direct you and where to go. Or let's be honest, or say, that's a great idea, but maybe you need some time to let that just kind of grow a little bit in your mind. Because let's be honest, listen, my mind is always going, it's full of ideas. And there's been times I've had people sit me down and say, now listen, we appreciate your spunk, your enthusiasm, but let's give it some time. Let's think about that. Let it marinate in your mind. When you wake up at 2 a.m, write down your thought, and let's formulate that a little bit better. Keep unpacking that thought. It could work here, but it might need some time. And I appreciate those people that can do that.
I do too. I also appreciate people who have the passion to drive forward.
Yes.
The people that are like, no, this has percolated long enough.
Right. Now it's go time.
Time to pour some coffee.
It's go time.
Yeah. And that takes a special person too.
Yep.
Because you've got to inspire, and I know you do this at the Salvation Army, but you've got to inspire the flock.
Yes.
We're going to lay, and that involves partnerships that you have. You mentioned Mike and Carla Filkins, tried and true. I mean, she's the first female mayor in the city of Cadillac. There's a lot of, yes. Yep. And I know of an incredible story about Diggins Hill, and it was a family that had lost a parent. Family was falling apart. There were other issues, and what got that family through was tennis at Diggins Hill, which led to college scholarships, which led to generations of tennis players that weren't a little good. They were incredibly good, and then being the mother of a runner, you knew it was at the dinner table going to be a lot of water when they ran Diggins.
Yep.
And when they ran Diggins, it was grueling because typically, it was in the spring or in the fall. They would be on a hot day. That's hardcore endurance training, running Diggins Hill. And so I know in my house, that's what, when somebody said Diggins, that's what you thought about is,
you were going to dig in. You really had to dig in at Diggins Hill,
And even today, and I'm driving around going to my office or whatever, and I see these runners headed this way, I want to yell, good luck, tell your mom you need a Gatorade.
Right. Paul Harris, who is the kind of the founder of Rotary Club, and he has a quote, and I shared this with our club last week, and it says this from Paul Harris: "Let us keep our hearts strong, enthusiasm fresh, and our hopes high. As long as we keep imbued with this spirit, Rotary can never die."
Wow.
So our hearts strong, our enthusiasm fresh, and our hopes high. And I think Rotary is set up. And I looked back at the history. I know that I have their names written down. I know that Carl T. Johnson and Emma Meyer, they were two that left some finances to the Rotary Club to start Rotary charities and the Rotary Foundation, and just left a good financial platform for Rotary to operate off of. And I know that with our Rotary charities, we fund a lot of different projects. So people that might have those good ideas for their organizations that are saying, how can I get my idea off the ground? How can I get my new building funded, or what do I do for kids in education, or disease prevention and treatment, or water and sanitation and hygiene, or whatever it may be. There's some guidelines you got to follow, but don't think that if you're listening, you're sitting there going, I have no idea how to get this off the ground. Go online to CadillacRotary.org, find the application for Rotary Charities, and fill it out. Applications are due in October, and there's time, and there might be some ways to put some wings to the desire in your heart and the vision that you see. Let's give your vision some wings, and let's see where else the Rotary Club can help partner with you and take your vision to another level for the betterment of this community.
Incredible.
That's good stuff.
Really
you told me earlier, and we actually had sorry, Katie, I violated our rule. We had a little bit of a conversation about content before you got here.
What?
We did. Tell me about your unscheduled visit to Rotary International Headquarters.
Oh, man. So listen, I'm walking... I was in training for officership in Chicago, and I had been a Rotarian in the Sheboygan, Michigan club. Great club, iron lung, to see how Rotary helped, help eradicate polio. We're just a few cases around the world now, so we're almost there. But I'm walking downtown Evanston, Illinois, down Sherman Avenue from where the Corps was. It was a Caribbean Corps, right? So I'm walking downtown on lunch break, and I almost run into this very tall building in downtown Evanston. I look up and I go, well, that says Rotary International. What in the world? Is that like where the Rotary Club here meets? Because they got a building, for crying out loud. And so I go in, the security guard was like, what are you doing here? You can't be here. I said, well, I'm a Rotarian, or I think I am a Rotarian. I was Rotarian in Sheboygan. I'm Michigan. Right. I'm a Pot Harris Fellow, if that means anything.
That means something.
What is this? Well, then you can go around the museum on the first floor. So I get in the building, and it's the Rotary International headquarters, where the International Rotary Club sits. Now, there are over 30,000 Rotary clubs in the world. And the saying goes that every second of the day around the world, there is at least one Rotary Club meeting taking place. Now, can you imagine a room full of 20, 50, 60, 100 people, right, of every second of the day, eyes open, ears attuned to the needs in their local community and those worldwide, going, how can we help? Give us ideas. You say the word go, and we're gonna combine our efforts, our energy, our passion, and we're gonna make something happen. Can you imagine every second of the day, there's people awake that's their mindset. Mm-hmm. That's the cry of their heart. That's their life song, is that, and they want to see what's going on. So I told Rich, I said, I walked into the building and I thought, oh man, this guy let me in. Like, I'm gonna go to the elevator. And so I took the elevator all the way up to the very top floor. I got off and somebody said, can I help you? I said, nope. They said, oh, you're Salvation Army. I said, I was just a cadet at that point. I wasn't lieutenant anybody. I was a cadet at Salvation Army. I was, training for officership. And they kind of gave me a tour of the floors of what they do where, and the Rotary Foundation and the charities and all the work that's been done around the world that you can see right there in Evanston, Illinois on Sherman Avenue at the Rotary International headquarters. It's just a fantastic building. And to see that, you just kind of go, wow. And I want people, when they see, you mentioned the handprints all over town. When I see a Rotary symbol in a community, I think there's a Rotary fingerprint. Like, we have fingerprints on our fingers, on our pads of our fingers. Yeah. And I think he's looking at his fingers. And I think to myself, that's a Rotary fingerprint, and that's a Rotary fingerprint, and that's a Rotary fingerprint. And I ask my club weekly, I say, if you see a Rotary symbol in the community, take a selfie with it or take a picture of it and tell me where you're at, and email it or text it to me. I'll put it on the screen at our next club meeting, because what I want to form is a collage of all these things where Rotary symbols are in Cadillac, so they can see how many fingerprints are out there. Yeah. Because when it all comes together, there are hands that are holding this community, and those are the hands of Rotary at work. We are people of action. Wow. And I want people to see how supportive of this community Rotarians are. And then it's not just Rotarians, it's the businesses that sponsor their employees to be part of the Rotary Club. Yeah. It's important. And if we don't do that, I feel like if people don't know what Rotary has done, let's go further. The Great Kiwanis Club, what the Kiwanians have done, what the Lions Club have done. Right. There are so many things that happen in this community. I shared with my club the other day that these service clubs are the lifeblood of our communities. Yeah. And I want people to know what exactly that heartbeat is that they're responsible for, that helps people continue on every single day. And so if you're out there and you're listening and you see a Rotary symbol and you're not a Rotarian, first of all, my question is, why aren't you a Rotarian? And secondly, I tell you, take a picture of it, send it to our Facebook page, the Rotary Club of Cadillac, or send it to the Salvation Army's Facebook page. And I want to put those together as a collage, But there's good things happening.
You have a long list of prominent Cadillac area residents and people who have been the president of that organization before. So you probably looked at that list and thought, well, how did I get here? I'm sure. But enhancements. So Captain Greg Bock's handprints on this organization. What is your vision?
My vision is really just to see this club thrive even more than it has. I want people to know. I want the students who are in the Strive Club, those students that are struggling academically, that the counselors identify and go, you know what, I think you would benefit from going to a lunch every Tuesday at Evergreen with these fantastic business people known as Rotarians. And they're going to pour into you their knowledge. They're going to take their time and the resources, their money, their energies, and they're going to help you discover what you're good at or uncover new things about yourself that you don't know. I want people to know that we have these things. We have the Strive Club. We have the Interact Club. We have Junior Rotarians for the little guys from 5 to 12 and 12 to 18 and 18 and older. There's a spot for everybody in Rotary Club. And right now, the biggest question I get from a lot of people is, well, Greg, what is the Rotary Club? We see their symbol everywhere. We know that it must be like a yellow-looking wheel. Is it a rotary telephone? Like, is it a bunch of old men in a back room drinking scotch and smoking cigars? Like, what is the Rotary Club? No. Rotary Club is people like you and I, right? Who know we have something to give. We are passionate about it, and we want to meet together to pull that effort, to pull that energy, pull that collaboration, because Cadillac collaborates, right? Like you said, that come together and see a bigger vision of what Cadillac can be. We like the vision now, right? We're glad that we're here, but we know there's always more. There's always something bigger and deeper and greater in store. And I think my vision for the Cadillac Rotary Club is to help people, the regular people out there listening right now, to go, well, you know what? Maybe I can be a Rotarian. Maybe I can join the Rotary Club. Or if you don't have the time for that, there's we have a Friends of Rotary group. You can be a friend of Rotary that lends your support to our events, like the White Pine Ride coming up on September 21st. That's a fundraiser for the White Pine Trail. And we have upwards of 70 riders registered to ride the 3 or 4 different routes for that. And Friends of Rotary can show up to volunteer. You don't got to be a Rotarian for that, but you can have the same heart for community, the same heart for service of self, and they can show up and volunteer for stuff like that. So my vision for the Cadillac Rotary Club, I don't think it's anything grand, but it's to... I think it's
something grand.
I think it's to help people understand just what Rotary is. So there's no question. When somebody goes, what's that pavilion down there? How did it get there? I see the Rotary. What's the Rotary Club? My hope, my desire is for folks to go, that's a great group of people that care about this community, that give of their time, their energy, and their resources, and come together for great things to happen for people just like you and me. Like, I want people to be able to just to rattle it off, but it to come from somewhere deep inside of them where it means something to them too.
Right. We've seen a decrease in clubs across the country post-COVID, during COVID, post-COVID. And we had Dr. Jim Whalen on the show to talk a little bit about, rebuilding after that, mental health issues in our community, et cetera. And he said one of the main things that folks need to do to build resilience is to be physically around others.
Yep.
And so that's what the Rotary Club does. I mean, you sing songs, you shake hands.
We sure do.
You get fined for silly things. There's a fellowship that's unlike anything other than church.
Right.
Unlike anything.
All right now. Amen. Amen, Katie.
That I've ever seen. And again, everybody checks their agenda.
Exactly.
At the door. Because you're there to be a part of something bigger than yourself.
Yeah,
you bumping into the Rotary International headquarters in Evanston was prophetic.
I sat next to, at the PETS conference, the President-elect Training Conference, I sat next to a lady who I didn't know who she was for the longest time. And then the speaker got up and talked. At the very end, he said, I forgot to welcome the International Rotary Club president. And this lady next to me who I talked to about my work with the Amish and vaccinations, and my phone even went off during his presentation, and she almost fell out of her chair. She stands up and everyone claps. And I was like, oh my goodness, I just sat next to the International Rotary Club president. Like, what in the world? So people are like, oh, what does that mean for your future? And I go, as long as it involves a red shield and Rotary, I'm come what may. Come what may. But it was just it was people like, that's prophetic. And I was going, I don't know about that, but I felt like an idiot.
Oh, I bet you were refreshing to her. She's like, we got a green one. Let's mold him, and he's going to lead.
She said, oh, you work with the Amish? She said, can they do a vaccination clinic? I said, well, I'll talk to them about that. But she was very fascinated with our work with the Amish and just our outreach, with the Amish and those in our community, like the homeless in our community. So Rotary, when we say Rotary are people of action and Rotary makes the world go around, it's the honest to God truth.
So the song goes like this: Rotary will go round and round and round and round the world. It's true.
It's true.
We didn't even get to 30 minutes with Greg Bock goes so fast.
More like 5.
Yeah, because we're at the 30-minute mark right now. So I'll tell you what, Greg, why don't you come back in November and we'll talk about getting bell ringers for you and around Thanksgiving time too.
Yeah,
I like that.
Bell ringers.
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
All right. Captain Greg Bock with us. He's from the Cadillac Salvation Army, but today he's representing the Rotary Club of Cadillac. He's the new president. Greg, thanks for your time.
Congratulations, too.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Cadillac Unscripted is sponsored by Independent Bank. Next week, more local chat. Same time, same station, 107.9 CDY.